Actually, he's busting the gangs and reclaiming the inner city kids. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster, honored guest. A day after Christmas, a baby was born, a little girl. And then the doctor and the nurses kind of amazed. Why is the baby shaking? It's crying so hard. So upon examination, further examination, they found out that there's some drugs on the baby's blood. As a law in Illinois, if these things happen in the hospital, they have to call the DCFS, which is the Department of Children and Family Services. So the further investigation was done by the DCFS, by the agency. Found out that the parents are drug users, cocaine users. Because of the complication of the case of this little girl, the agency requested for a volunteer that will help to find a permanent home, a loving and caring permanent home for the baby. Or if there's no volunteer, this little baby will end up in the system, in which the system, they move, it's like a foster home. They move kids an average of about 18 months from one place to another. It's our system, there's nothing we can do. Just think of it, if it's you have another parent, my brothers and sisters, every 18 months. It's very short. But if there's a volunteer that help this little girl, this volunteer will follow this girl wherever she goes until she reaches the age of maturity or 18 years old. The problem of moving from one place to another, since most of these foster kids are psychologically, there's some psychological problems. Sometimes these kids, they abuse weaker kids, younger kids. That's why sometimes you hear the newspaper, the TV, that they run away. Because it's harder. It's like a jungle in the foster home. And by running away, some of these kids become prostitutes, criminals. Since they are being moved every time, these children, they lost their trust to the people around them. It's so hard to trust someone when they move you around. Sometimes they kind of think that I'm not important. They just move me around and neglect. That's the thing. But if there's a volunteer, at least that one person, that little baby, the little girl now, can trust that one person, because this one person, she moved or he moved around with her wherever she goes. As a volunteer myself, they can call us anytime. I give them all my phone numbers 24 hours a day. They call us, we call them right away. Well, sometimes, like when I'm starting to be a volunteer, my wife will tell me, where are you going? You're going around. Why did you cut the grass? So it's really hard for people sometimes to understand. Sometimes, even me, before I became a volunteer, I asked myself, isn't it there's some department that's great, that was created by the government to take care of the kids? Like the DCFS, there's a lot of government agencies that can help the kids. But the thing with this, the funding is not enough. The funding is not enough. That's why we need volunteers. And it's different when there's a person there who is not being paid, that really take care of his kids. Because one caseworker, they have about 30 kids, 30 to 35 kids. It's very hard work. In the court, sometimes, most of the time, we were late because there's a lot of kids. Well, I'm here to ask you. To call your senators or representative and give you some handouts. This is because this is my suggestion here. If we can make our state or federal to at least give tax credit for volunteerism, I think it will help a lot. Or require university and colleges to share the time of the students who are graduating before they get their diploma. Well, it is not really hard because, like before, because to before, they have this program when she was sophomore that they go to the inner city in Chicago, preparing dinner for for kids. But we still have to work because there are some universities and colleges that they don't have this kind of programs. Now you might ask, where will we get the money? That's the big problem right now. Where will we get the money? I suggest on the alcohol tax, cigarette, and casino taxes. And also, we can solicit from United Way or Ronald McDonald Foundation, or the businesses that are benefiting from the inner city. They have to give something. And actually, in the long run, we will be saving taxes because less crime, less incarceration, less jail, and we get a peaceful community. So I ask you, share now. Because if we don't share now, we don't contribute our time, our skill, our ability, there will be a time that we will lose our kids. The kids will fall in the hand of the gangs. Thank you. I'm sorry. I have a 2 minutes question.
Okay, sure.
It's nothing. If you can ask me something, because my purpose here is I would like to convince you to really call or email to senators and representatives. It's easy. It doesn't take you 5 minutes. So if you have some questions, I'm here to answer your question.
Yeah, example of email that has been sent out before?
It's when you email. Actually, there's a form there to senators. There's a form over there that you can just put your name and it says over there what's the title about what certain kind of topic, like you put volunteer act, something like that, and then explain a little bit, and then you click submit, and it's very easy. Maybe you might ask me about how we're gonna fund it. Yeah, it's in my speech, but since there's no question, I would like to thank you very much, and please call your senators and representatives. Thank you.